because they're going to be looking back on it nostalgically in like 10 years from now.
Ah, that's a scary thought. Yeah, that means we really need to do it right.
This series may be suicide for all I know, but I'm not a good liar, and I'm not good at holding things back and pretending everything's okay when it's not, so I'm producing it anyway. No, this isn't really. It doesn't have anything to do with Paul Soares Jr., except that that triggered me to need to say something. In the world that I live in, the people I associate with, skeptical people, scientific people, mm, philosophical people, actually, the word ignorant is not an insult. And I always forget that in popular culture it is. In the world I live in, if you're ignorant about something, well, that's no big surprise. We're all ignorant about something. In fact, we're all ignorant about almost everything. What it can be, what it is usually around the people that I hang out with, is a challenge. Perhaps a person has voiced an opinion on a subject without having done any research or any background in it, has vocalized an opinion that's inaccurate, incomplete, and a little thoughtless as a result. And others will say, you're ignorant, because you are. Now, the way I respond if somebody tells me that I'm ignorant is to try to educate myself. A lot of the people that I hang out with are really in marginalized communities. They don't have much money. Their lives are under a great deal of stress. They face real physical challenges um, and suffering. They're economically deprived. Uh, they have to be afraid walking down the street that somebody is going to attack them or hurt them or bully them. And that includes police. Uh, just walking down the street puts you in danger. A young woman recently knocked on somebody's door. She'd been in an accident, a car accident, and asked for help. And the man on the other side of the door opened the door and shot her in the face. No questions asked. A local football hero, the same thing happened to him. He was in a car accident. He came to a house and knocked on the door and was shot point blank. In their cases, they both happened to be black. We live in a world where there's a lot of stuff that's not safe. And for me to demand that people in marginalized groups educate me when I have access to the internet is a little presumptuous. It's like walking into a poor person's home, raiding the refrigerator, plopping down in front of the sofa, changing the channel on the television set, um, farting into the sofa cushions, drinking up all the beer, and then walking out and leaving the door open. They're trying to take care of their own lives and their own selves. And for me to just assume that I have a right to barge in and demand their time and attention to educate me is, to me, rude and destructive to them. So when I encounter a subject in which I have interest, what I try to do is go on the internet and find verifiable, reliable sources of information so that I can correct my ignorance or at least know what I'm ignorant about so that when I'm hearing the conversation, I will understand the language people are using. Like, well, look at redstone circuitry. What's a Jeb door? What's a bud switch? What's an etho thingy? I need to learn those things in order to be able to do those things. And for me to just keep asking people what's a this, what's a that without researching it, I think would be very irritating and annoying to people who are trying to get the work done. It's the same sort of thing. So I left a comment on one of Paul's videos It was not a Minecraft video. It was something else. I don't even know the name of the game. It was very bloody and very violent. It looked like Minecraft characters, but they were holding high-powered weapons, and the people he was playing with were cursing. And it was really ugly, and I said, this is garbage. At the risk of infuriating Paul, for he would feel insulted, but I really thought the game was not okay for kids, and the way the adults were behaving that were playing the game was not okay for kids. And yeah, I said it was garbage. I also said this is supposed to be a family-friendly channel. This is not a family-friendly game or way of playing the game. And Paul's fanboys came running to my website, to my YouTube channel, and on two videos in particular, one about disabilities and one about me being family-friendly, they tore me to pieces. No, they didn't, but they were very cruel. They used words that I won't repeat here, words about my body parts. I was threatened with physical assault. I was threatened with rape. I was called terrible racial slurs and a lot of other stuff. And Paul doesn't seem to know that or care or something. I mean, I think that Paul ought to be aware of what the atmosphere is like in YouTube comments and what fanboys do. I received over 2,000 such messages with regards to those videos because people were hurt that I had said something about Paul. I hadn't. I'd said something about the game and the way the game was played, and about the fact that this was supposed to be a family-friendly channel. Apparently, Paul became aware that I was under assault, and I was telling people in comments, you don't understand about disabilities and poverty. You don't understand. You need to educate yourself. You're ignorant. Now, I don't know what happened because Paul blocked me from his channel. So I never actually saw the comment, but a couple of young people who I suspect might be friends or family members, even to this day, and it's been almost a year, come to my channel, and it's sort of like nanny, ha-ha. They say something like, Paul says he doesn't recommend his subscribers to you because you're a bully. Telling someone they're ignorant about something is not being a bully. It's being factual. And it may be considered rude to be truthful, but I'd rather have people be truthful than to lie to my face. Which is why this series is a big risk, because I intend to be truthful about my life experience, about my experience of gaming, because I think Minecraft is too important for egos and for doing things the old way, the way gaming has always been done, with violence and rudeness and racism and sexism and homophobia. Minecraft is too big. It's bigger than all of us, and it transforms people's lives. And we are influencing that with very young children. So I was blocked from Paul's channel, and I don't watch too many of his videos ever since because it's painful. I knew Paul was different from me. I know that he's at least middle class, probably upper middle class. I know that he's heterosexual. I know that he's monogamously married with pretty much grown children at this point. I've watched every one of his older videos, all the way up to the point where he blocked me. I had watched every one of his videos. I know a lot about him. He doesn't know a lot about me. And he's never going to learn because he blocked me, which is what happens to marginalized people a lot. People with no power, people with no privilege. We get blocked. We get isolated and alienated. We get people call us crazy so they don't have to listen to what we have to say. If we're angry or frustrated or frightened, we're crazy. Even when we have very good reasons to be. So in this series, what I want to do is talk about gaming, but through the filter of Minecraft and Minecraft's potential. Because there is no other phenomenon like it in the culture. It's a real paradigm shift, a real new form of consciousness, a cooperative game that we, the players and the developers, are building together, that can build computers and musical instruments and elaborate puzzles and crazy games and enormous structures and be used as real prototypes for architecture and science and physics and poetry. It is truly a unique art form, and I think it's a very important one. And we need to be careful how we proceed and how the game flourishes, because it's really going to influence our culture within the next 10, 15 years. These little kids that are playing it now, when they grow up, Minecraft is going to be part of their development, like Tinker Toys and Lincoln Logs were for me, and like Legos were for a bunch of other kids. And we need to set the groundwork, and we need to do it well. And that means that playing the game while drunk and stoned and bragging about that's not okay if little kids are watching it. And cursing and using epithets, racial and anti-LGBT and horrible words against women and people of color, that's not okay. We need to teach kids how to be creative. I mean, my gosh, this is the first time in a long time that kids have had a popular cultural medium where they get to be creative, where they get to direct it. It's not a toy that you just wind it up and listen to it and watch it. It's a toy that you manufacture yourself, not according to instructions. You're just given the blocks like the old days of Lego, when you just had a box of blocks and you created stuff. It wasn't a model like an airplane or a spaceship, and it comes with instructions, and you put this block here and that block there, and then you have a spaceship and you put it on a shelf, like the man from Lionsgate Films in the Story of Mojang movie says. It was a box of blocks and you created it yourself. And it's a real paradigm shift in human consciousness. It really is. It's the beginning of a new way of thinking, of collectively working together to create projects and solve problems against vast distances and time zones and experience. Vastly different people working cooperatively together to create something. And no two groups or individuals of people are creating the same thing. It's all unique. It's a personal experience that nobody else will ever completely replicate. Everybody's experience is different. So yeah, it's a phenomenal game at a phenomenal time in human history, and let's not taint it by being superficial and cruel and macho and artificial and phony. Let's be honest. Let's be open. Notch didn't even know when he built this game, when he started this game, what was going to happen. Nobody could have known. Nobody could have known what the players would do with the game, to tweak it, manipulate it, push it beyond what it was ever dreamed of. Redstone was just added to get minecarts to work, and then somebody built a computer with them. So we don't know what Minecraft's going to be, but it's going to be a tremendous influence on a lot of kids. And I think we need to be responsible for that. Thank you for watching. I'll try to put one of these out about once a week. Good night.
Oh, that's a scary thought. Yeah, that means we really need to do it right.